Just like how all the data on your old iPhone can be perfectly copied onto a brand new one, gifted by your boyfriend on January 8th. Some scientists believe that information inside the brain could also be transferred, or partially, and fully replicated, onto a USB drive or into another brain. In this video, we will discuss the possibility of creating a form of immortality through human mind uploading. Hello, and great to see you again. Immortality has been one of humanity's oldest dreams. However, medical advancements indicate that our physical bodies are flesh and blood, seem programmed to die after about 100 years or so. In 1961, Leonard Hayflick discovered that all normal human cells divide only between 40 to 60 times before entering senescence and dying. Today, we call this the Hayflick limit, and you can't build an eternal house if the bricks it's made from aren't built to last forever, right? Saying that doesn't mean humans can't become immortal. It just means we need to think about it differently. Many believe that humans are actually composed of two parts, the body and the mind. If we could separate the mind from the body, we wouldn't be bound anymore by the Hayflick limit or the ticking time bomb of whatever vessel currently houses our consciousness. Imagine this. During a move, you find an old hard drive containing 1 million Bitcoin you forgot about from 2009. At today's price, June 7, 2025, each Bitcoin is worth $104,500. So, with 1 million Bitcoins, you suddenly become the 19th richest person in the world. Then, out of nowhere, the hospital calls you've been diagnosed with terminal cancer and have only 3 months left to live. You're panicking when suddenly you remember you still have $67 billion in your bank account. You contact top doctors, Earth's best AI servers, begging for immortality. They all shake their heads. But then, one man steps forward, holding up a USB stick and says, "I will copy your brain into this USB drive. With it, not only can you live forever, but you can even return to relive your life at its most beautiful age, anytime you want. Just plug this USB in, hit install, and voila." Sounds amazing, right? This is a fun hypothetical situation created by VF to help you imagine one of the applications of brain uploading technology. Brain uploading, as the name suggests, is the process of digitizing the brain, which contains all your memories, emotions, experiences, and personality, and transferring that entire dataset into a computer or robot, allowing the mind to live on even after the physical body dies. Through this method, futurists argue that humans may be able to extend life or even achieve digital immortality. Other purposes of mind uploading include creating permanent backups that can be loaded into supercomputers to control interstellar exploration spacecraft searching for extraterrestrial life. These USB astronauts could fit into gram-scale spacecraft like Starship, unaffected by vacuum, microgravity, or deadly cosmic radiation, enabling unlimited duration space missions limited only by hardware failure, closer to home. Minds living inside computers could serve as the final legacy of human civilization. Following a global catastrophe, more optimistically, once uploaded, human intelligence would function like a computer, meaning it could think faster and therefore be far smarter than its former biological owner. A network of uploaded minds connected together could accelerate technological development exponentially, possibly reaching what's known as the technological singularity, the peak of technological advancement. However, how realistic is this? Mind uploading is no easy task. In fact, it's so difficult that many consider it the hardest challenge, the final boss level of neuroscience and computational neurobiology. Neuroscientists believe that the most important functions of the mind, such as learning, memory, and consciousness, rise purely from physical and electrochemical processes in the brain, governed by known laws of physics, chemistry, and biology. So why hasn't anyone copied it onto a USB stick yet? Scientists have already simulated parts of the human brain. Based on the simulations, they estimate that if Moore's law continues to hold true, we'll have enough computing power to upload a full human mind within a few decades. But there's a problem. Moore's law predicted that chip computing power would double every 2 years. It held true since 1975, but since 2010, processor performance seems to have fallen behind that trend. In other words, it appears we're approaching the limits of computer processing power. But saying that doesn't mean humanity will never have enough computing power to simulate the human brain, because honestly, nobody really knows exactly how much we'll need. We just know it will be absolutely enormous. You may have heard somewhere that the human brain is around 86 billion neurons, and each neuron can have up to thousands, even 15,000 connections with other brain cells. That creates a hyper-complex network of over a quadrillion connections inside your skull, the cerebral cortex alone. The wrinkled outer layer of the brain contains about 125 trillion synapses. That's equal to the number of stars in 1,500 Milky Way galaxies. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to replicate the mind accurately, you'd need to simulate nearly 100 billion neurons and a quadrillion connections between them. The issue is that each individual neuron itself is a highly complex and powerful biological supercomputer. You can't just assign it a simple X, Y, or 0/1 and call it done. To simulate just one neuron, you'd need to model the structure and function of hundreds of trillions of atoms and trillions of molecules making up that neuron, along with all the rules governing how each particle interacts with others. This task would require computers more powerful than anything we have today, by factors of trillions of times. according to pages 80 and 81 of a 130-page research study from 2008, simulating a molecular-level model of the brain, including the random positions and behaviors of every single particle that makes up the brain, would require approximately 1,043 floating-point operations per second, flops, and 38,800 terabytes of memory, equivalent to 78,000 iPhone's 512 gigabytes version. To put that 1,043 flops figure into perspective, it represents computing power 8 million trillion times more powerful than the world's fastest current supercomputer, Frontier, which cost around $600 million, includes over 600,000 CPU cores, 8 million GPU cores, occupies over an acre of land, and consumes nearly 23 megawatts of electricity. Yet, it only fulfills 1/8 million trillion of the required processing power to simulate the brain at the molecular level. As the elders say, if something is too hard, maybe just give up and stay human. An alternative way to get the brain into a USB is to take a photo. In 2010, researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine successfully imaged synapses from part of a mouse brain. Let me explain. The research team sliced an extremely thin section of a mouse's cerebral cortex, just 70 nanometers thick, about the width of 700 hydrogen atoms lined up side by side. Then, they stained the slice with antibodies that emitted different colors under imaging. The final product, as seen on screen, was not only stunningly beautiful, but it revealed a sobering truth. The brain is once again proving to be thousands of times more complex than we ever imagined. Each synapse, each colored dot you see, isn't just a simple on-off switch. It's actually a tiny biological processor, a microchip capable of both information processing and memory storage. Synapses do have switches, about 1,000 per synapse. Altogether, a complete human brain contains more switches than all the computers, routers, and internet connections combined on Earth. In other words, your own brain is more complex than the entire internet. Wow. In summary, simulating the brain or digitizing the mind is a wild and fantastic idea, but for now, it remains entirely in the realm of science fiction. HeckyFish channel will return with the latest updates. If you like the idea of copying your brain into a USB, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to catch our future sci-fi science content. For now, goodbye and see you next time.